All right, we're going to write some rules for the rotations in the coordinate plane about the origin. So another thing to note is if they don't tell you what you're rotating about, always assume you're rotating, the rotation is around or about the origin. Okay, and remember the origin is just the center of the grid. It's this point 0, 0 down here at the middle. I'm going to rewrite the word assume because that does not look like a word. Assume. Unless it's otherwise specified, just like we rotate counterclockwise unless otherwise specified. So the first rotation that we should learn about is rotations, rotate 90 degrees. Okay. When we rotate 90 degrees, we go from one quadrant to the next numbered quadrant. So if you're in quadrant 1, it goes to quadrant 2, from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3, from quadrant 3 to quadrant 4, etc. Okay, so when we rotate 90 degrees, we take our original coordinate pair, x comma y, and it becomes negative y comma x. Okay, so it flips the coordinates and it makes the y coordinate opposite. So for our original example, we have b is 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 4. Well, that's not going to be helpful, is it? I'm going to erase b. I'm going to change it, move it to a different place. Let's do 3, comma 4. So I'm going to move right here, b, which is 3, comma 4. Okay, so then when we rotate that, we're going to put our new spot on 3, comma 4 becomes, so the first thing I do is I flip them so that y is in the first spot, so 4, comma 3, and then I need to make y the opposite of what it was, so negative 4, comma 3. So I go negative 4 and then up 3. So this should be my b prime, okay, after a 90-degree rotation. All right, so then after a 90-degree rotation, what if we rotate the original, obviously, 180 degrees. So I'm going to start with b, not with b prime. And when we rotate 180 degrees, we take the x comma y coordinate. And what we're doing here is just making the coordinate negative x comma negative y. So this time it doesn't flip sides. Basically, it's like a mirror image across the thing. So a rotation of 180 is similar to an image. So I'm going to take my first coordinate 3, comma 4. And I just make them both opposites. So negative 3, comma negative 4. So then I'm going to go to negative 3, and then I go down negative 4. So this should be b double prime. I'll call that b double prime just because starting again. And then the last one is if I rotate 270 degrees. Rotate 270. And this takes this all the way into quadrant 4. So I'm going to take my xy coordinate, xy, and it's going to become y comma negative x. Okay, so again, these rules this time are really important because we can't draw the rotation like we normally would be able to in the class because I'd have all these tools that you could use. So learning the rules is super important for this and having them written down. So if I have the original coordinates, 3, comma 4, I want to change the order. So I'm going to start by putting 4 and then comma 3. And then I want to opposite my x. So since x was positive, now it's going to be negative. So 4, comma negative 3. Right about here, b triple prime. Okay. And you'll notice that these, like, if I were to rotate each of these things, it would end up in that spot. So that's the rules for rotations in a coordinate plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up a quick drawing, and I want you to use those 3 rules for rotation in the coordinate plane. Okay, so my pre-image is going to be m, which is at the coordinate negative 2, comma 1. Now this one's going to be a little trickier than the last time because I didn't start in quadrant 1, but the idea is exactly the same and you can still use the rules. So take a moment and rotate 90, 180, and 270 degrees. Okay, you should be back. So when you rotate 90 degrees, you go from the coordinate x comma y. Oh, I'll have to do this in the next video.